Well, I saw Deadpool 2. I thought it was okay, but it has a lot of complicated issues that I think are tied to the culture it was created in and the way the film presents itself. I'll start with the positives. Firstly, I loved all the characters in this one. Vanessa and Wade's relationship is still a core part of the movie, which is good since it's one of the best parts of the first one. Domino, Cable, and Russell are really nice additions as well. Domino in particular is cool because their ability to just be really lucky is an interesting thing that helps feed into the film's metatextuality in a way that isn't blatant and sort of annoying like Deadpool is. For example, during one car chase where she's fighting Cable, it cuts to Deadpool catching up to the car they're on, with him blocking a bullet for her. Was Deadpool responsible for that save, or was luck responsible? It's ambiguous, which is always a plus in my book. The action scenes are just inventive, not more so than the original, with David Lynch being responsible for John Wick and Atomic Blonde, two movies with stellar action scenes as well. Deadpool 2 is a lot more jump-cutty in comparison to those two though, but it's made up with sheer visual flair. It's not quite Marvel levels of colorful, but it is an improvement over the gray tones of the first one. So then, what exactly are my problems with the movie? Well, most of them are carried over from the first one, and are in fact amplified in many regards. I'm talking about the way Deadpool just sort of makes a reference to something outside the film's universe, and then that's the joke.
So dark. You sure you're not from the DC universe?
I understood that reference.
Humor is of course subjective. I don't want to imply it's like objectively bad or anything, but I don't really see what's funny about pointing out the flaws in your own writing and then continuing the role with that same flaw. What's added to the movie's messaging and themes by just having a bunch of winking nods? The genuine emotion and character beats in the movie are constantly undermined by this sort of philosophy of having to acknowledge what they're doing is cliche to try and be hip and cool while also still trying to be a big budget action blockbuster of genuine emotion. The plot of the film is essentially a derivative of Days of Future Past. Someone from the future having to prevent a disaster by stopping the one event that turns someone from good to evil. And I think it's extremely notable that while Deadpool 2 pokes fun of Logan of the DC universe of Marvel and the like, it never acknowledges its inspiration from a better movie, or really gets to the heart of the problem with a lot of these movies, that they're ultimately very non-confrontational and uninspired when it comes to the formula. Looking at Logan, that movie is also R-rated and was arguably greenlit due to Deadpool's success, but it's also a movie that, unlike Deadpool, uses its violence in a very real way to reinforce its points that maybe being this idealistic heroes that fans are desperate to see an iteration of isn't the best way to go. That maybe it's more destructive than anything. What we really need is difficult conversations on why we continue to watch franchises the only purpose is to see more, and not engage what we're actually seeing on a more thematic level. It's the sort of feeling I got with Infinity War, a movie I consider really great, but why continue to watch this franchise after this point when the only drive after 10 years of build-up is just more build-up? Deadpool and Deadpool 2 want you to care about the characters and what they go through, and they succeed in a lot of ways. Yet despite all the winking nods, there's no true acknowledgement of the horrific violence the characters inflict on others. Colossus gets angry at Deadpool for shooting someone and is the reason he gets thrown into the icebox. But besides getting angry for a bit, he never confronts Deadpool about it again, because deep down he's a good person, he had good reasons, and yeah. It just really bothers me that Vanessa getting killed and Cable's family getting killed are treated with utmost respect, and yet most of these random goons are never given a proper reason to deserve death. The headmaster isn't killed and Russell isn't changed, and yet the movie undermines the point of that decision by having him be killed off by a joke character. So like, what's it even trying to say with all these disparate elements? And the answer is, I don't think it even knows. Despite the R rating, I feel this movie is very immature when it comes to confronting complex problems, and feels like it needs to reduce everything to a punchline except itself in order for it to be understandable. It's deconstructing for the sake of it, and I guess you can argue that's the point, but I'll argue right back that it both is and isn't. I think there's a genuine problem of how the movie wants you to treat its grounded aspects seriously, but then undermines everything supporting it, and I'd much rather acknowledge that sort of issue rather than gloss over it. I would still recommend the film if you're looking for just a fun time, but I don't recommend seeing it if you're looking for something consistent or engaging on a level other than that. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching.
A Deadpool 2 extended cut is coming, and here's what to expect.